Over the years, I would say the Charmaine Roman's organization smuggled in tens of thousands of pounds of marijuana.
Two things I don't play about.
I love this
is my man and my money.
10 women who built multi-million-dollar criminal empires through cocaine, marijuana, heroin, and cyber fraud. From BMF's First Lady moving $270 million across 11 states to Jamaica's Ghost Queen smuggling tons of weed to Nigeria's digital scam matriarch. These are the most ruthless black female crime bosses and what they're doing in 2025. Tanessa Welch, the First Lady of BMF. Born August 11, 1971 in Detroit, Tanessa Welch entered a world where opportunities for young black women were limited, but her ambitions were limitless. Raised in a middle-class family with her mother, Carol, stepfather, and 3 brothers, she learned business savvy early, but faced the harsh reality of Motor City's economic decline. The Detroit of her youth was a city in transition. The factories were closing, the jobs were disappearing, and the American dream that had drawn millions to the Motor City was dying. At 19, while working an insurance clerk job that offered nothing but monotony and minimum wage, she was drawn to the glamorous lifestyle of drug dealers, the furs, the Benzes, the power that money could buy. Her path to infamy began through Harold Mills, a small-time dealer who introduced her to a world where money flowed like water and respect was earned through violence and cunning. She birthed son Harold Jr. amid an abusive relationship that would hone her street instincts. But it was her connection with Terry Southwest T. Flannery that would change everything. By 1990, Welch had entered BMF's orbit amid Detroit's devastating crack epidemic, and she wasn't content to play a supporting role. As First Lady, she orchestrated cocaine pipelines from Mexico across 11 states, earning her title for logistical acumen amid BMF's violent expansion. Her role involved managing cocaine flows that generated over $270 million with ties to Sinaloa cartels. She stashed kilos in Encino mansions and laundered money through Hollywood fronts, creating a sophisticated financial network, all while maintaining the flashy lifestyle, Gucci tracksuits and Audis that became BMF's signature. But Welch's ruthlessness extended far beyond logistics. One associate described her as the silent enforcer who greenlit hits without hesitation, with BMF's operations linked to over 20 homicides during its violent expansion. She approved hits during the 2003 Atlanta purge, coordinated shipments that saturated streets, and navigated betrayals including Meech's infidelities, all while mothering 2 more sons. In October 2005, Operation Motor City Mafia brought down over 50 BMF members, including Welch. She pled guilty to conspiracy and money laundering, drawing a 57-month sentence. Time in California federal facilities forced a reckoning with her past, detoxing from cocaine and reflecting on Mills's 1991 murder and family fractures. Released in December 2012, Welch founded Silent Heart to aid children of inmates. In 2025, at 53 years old, she serves as executive producer on BET's BMF series, consulting on Season 4, and appeared in Vivica A. Fox's 2023 biopic First Lady of BMF. Her estimated net worth of $1.5 million comes from speaking engagements, including a February 2025 talk at the Mob Museum on breaking incarceration cycles, podcasts, and media work. While YouTube speculation suggests lingering influence, no DEA filings support any current criminal activity. While Welch built her empire on American soil through the crack cocaine trade, our next figure operated across international borders with marijuana, earning a nickname that spoke to her supernatural ability to vanish. Charmaine Roman, the Ghost Queen. Born July 4, 1971, in Central Village, St. Catherine Parish, Jamaica, Charmaine Roman's early life was forged in poverty and the violence of Jamaica's garrison communities. Her childhood in the poverty-crime nexus bred cunning and survival instincts. As a teenage mother to her daughter, she fled illegally to Florida around 1993, chasing the American dream while carrying Kingston's street wisdom. By the early 2000s, Roman had built a sophisticated marijuana smuggling operation that would eventually move thousands of pounds monthly. Her genius was in the facade. On the surface, she was a doting grandmother in Orlando's upscale Dr. Phillips neighborhood, driving a Land Rover, seemingly living the respectable suburban life. Those lottery winnings totaled $187,000 since 2010, providing perfect cover for illicit income.
Over the years, I would say the Charmaine Roman's organization smuggled in tens of thousands of pounds of marijuana. During just this short period of time when we were on the wiretap, we took off over 3,400 pounds, and that was just in a month period.
Roman led a 50-member Jamaican cartel from 2000-2013, smuggling over 3,000 pounds of marijuana monthly via boats from Jamaica, RVs, and mail services from both Jamaica and Mexico to Florida. She laundered millions through fake reggae festivals and concert promotions, sham events that existed only on paper. Her operation involved hiding drugs in speaker boxes, hollowed-out furniture, creating an elaborate financial shell game that kept authorities guessing for years. But Roman earned her Ghost Queen moniker through more than clever accounting. Federal affidavits from 2010-2013 detail beatings and a suspected hit on a defecting courier. She authorized armed enforcement against rivals and debtors, ordering courier executions and rival beatings to maintain control. Her operation involved armed crews ready to execute cross-border hits.
Question around Charmaine's lovingness and all of that is really interesting because in many ways, what you're really describing with what was revealed in the case was that this was really just another form of manipulation and control. So a lot of this might go back to her narcissism or, her self-centeredness in controlling her own children and grandchildren.
On September 30th, 2013, Operation Green Ghost shattered her empire, seizing 3,200 pounds of marijuana, 15 guns, $200,000 in cash, and multiple fake identities, including passports and social security numbers. Roman was denied bond as a flight risk. Investigators couldn't even confirm her true identity. She faced racketeering and trafficking charges carrying over 20 years. Details post-2018 release, including possible deportation around 2020, remain scarce. 2025 YouTube videos claim she's still active, allegedly rebuilding in Kingston and training new queens via encrypted apps, but FBI's 2025 transnational updates list no Roman-linked busts. At 54, she's likely living quietly, with age deterring any return to operations. From Florida's marijuana trade, we move west to Los Angeles, where another woman would rise from teenage obscurity to become one of the most feared cocaine distributors of the 1980s. Jemicker Thompson, from Queenpin to evangelist.
Actually, I knew Daft first.
Yeah.
Because Daft was the man. So it's like everybody that was doing whatever they was doing, you knew that. So Jemicker was like, we just knew Jemicker as Daft's wife.
Jemicker Thompson was born in 1983 and grew up in South Central Los Angeles, where poverty and limited opportunities created the perfect storm for the crack epidemic. At just 15, she met Daft, a charismatic hustler and gambler 5 years her senior. But Thompson was no ordinary teenager.
Well, I don't know if I should say this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Back then, I was 15, but I felt I was a mature 15. So I was 15, but I acted like I was probably 20. I was more grown than what my age was because my mother used to travel a lot because she was in the Air Force.
Her mother's frequent Air Force deployments left Thompson caring for her little brother, forcing her to grow up fast and develop the controlling spirit that would later define her criminal career. Friends described her as having her grandmother Medea's controlling ways, but turned up to 10. Thompson's entry into the cocaine trade came through an unlikely source.
Well, Daft got arrested. And when he got arrested, the bail bondsman that bailed him out pulled up in a Rolls Royce, money green Rolls Royce. And so then I was like, and he's, like an older man. So I'm like, chopping it up with him and everything. And then he invited me, to meet with him. But all along, he would invite me to lunch. And I said, I want to work for you.
The bail bondsman didn't want Thompson to learn his business. He wanted to teach her the cocaine trade. He rented a room, showed her how to use a triple beam scale, taught her to weigh and wrap cocaine. That first night, Thompson and Daft sold all the cocaine, making more money than they'd ever seen. Within weeks, Daft's brother Mark was selling cocaine through the McDonald's drive-thru where he worked. By the mid-1980s, Thompson had built a multi-million-dollar cocaine empire, distributing to major dealers across Los Angeles. Her genius lay in connecting directly with Colombian Colombian suppliers. When she walked into a furniture store owned by Colombians and pulled out knots of cash to buy everything, they recognized a serious player. They approached her. She negotiated better prices, and suddenly she had a direct line to the cartels. But Thompson's ascent involved more than business acumen. Thompson earned a reputation for violence, fighting women who even looked at Daff wrong, collecting money while pregnant, putting hands on anyone who disrespected her. Her signature move was the headlock, getting someone's head locked and just reeling on it until they submitted. In February 1993, Thompson was arrested and charged with running a major cocaine distribution network. She eventually pled guilty to avoid the death penalty and served 15 years in federal prison, released in 2005. What makes Thompson's story remarkable isn't just her criminal past, it's her complete transformation. Since 2005, Thompson has reinvented herself as an evangelist and author, actively touring with faith-focused messages and writing books. In 2025, there's no credible evidence of any continued criminal activity. Thompson represents perhaps the clearest example of complete reformation on this list. Back in Detroit, where Tanessa Welch once reigned, another woman was building a reputation that would make her name synonymous with larger-than-life presence and uncompromising street power. Rhonda Big 50, Hood, Detroit's flashy legend.
Everything Big 50, everything big, and literally she lived up to that name. Everything that she did was big.
Born October 28, 1965, in Detroit to Willie Hood Sr. and Joanne, Rhonda Hood's path to Queenpin status began early and hard. She became a mother at 15, and by 18 she had entered the streets with determination that would define her legacy.
Oh my God. I said, well, who gave you that name?
My mom got that name Big 50 from her old friend named Skinny Scarelli.
Well, Skinny one gave me my name. I said, why you gonna name me Big 50?
He named her Big 50 because of her breasts.
But the nickname represented far more than physical attributes.
Because I'm a heavy-chested woman, and he knew that I'm about it. I'm gonna do what I need to do.
Throughout the 1980s and 1990s, Hood built a multi-million-dollar cocaine empire controlling Detroit's East Side, starting as a strip club dancer and leveraging connections to build something far more lucrative. Her operation involved gun possession, fraud, and outmaneuvering rivals with a fearless demeanor.
She just about her business, man. I respect her to the utmost. She's one of them women that you can't take for granted. You know, she's there, you're gonna notice her, you're gonna feel her, you know, it's just that aura that you get when you come around certain people, and 50 is one of them people.
Hood's style was unmistakable.
I would describe Rhonda's style as very flashy. Anything that's not exposing Big 50, she ain't wearing it. She don't want nothing to do with it. It could be something by Gucci, and they done made it in a size 2 for a skinny bitch, as she say. She going to buy however many it take to put together to work.
She would buy multiple designer items and have them altered to expose what she wanted exposed. If you kept staring, especially if you were a man, she'd grab you and pull you into those Big 50s. That's how she operated. Everything about Big 50 was big. Big cars with big rims, big houses, big parties, and most, importantly, big presence. Convicted of conspiracy, drug trafficking, and fraud, she served time before her release around the early 2010s. In 2021, Hood was featured in BET's biopic American Gangster Presence, Big 50, starring Remy Ma. In 2025, she maintains an active Instagram presence, Ethereal Big 50, promoting empowerment and mentoring at-risk youth. While YouTube videos claim she's killing the game in an advisory capacity, no arrests or DEA filings confirm any criminal activity. Hood has fully embraced reformation. While Hood dominated Detroit with flash and style down south in Alabama, another woman was quietly building one of the longest-running drug operations in American history. Perion Roberts, the Alabama cocaine queen. Perion Roberts' criminal career spanned decades, making her one of the longest-running female drug dealers in American history, operating throughout Alabama and pushing hundreds of kilos of cocaine. She managed dealers, controlled territory, and made the hard decisions that kept her empire running for years.
Relieved, and I knew that my life was completely going to be turned around. I was not going back the path that I had came down, because that was something that I had promised myself. My dad and my grandfather was the only one I had living, and God, that, you know, I would not go back down that path.
But what makes Roberts' story unique is her genuine recognition of the harm she caused.
Oh, these days I look at it with severe empathy. I'm I'm so sorry for doing that. I didn't see it then like I see now. And I look at it that I destroyed my own community for really greed, for money, you know, and I hate that. I hate that I even started selling drugs, because I've always liked helping people.
Her cocaine that was ultimately cooked into crack created devastating ripple effects. Crack addicts, crack babies, women doing whatever for a hit, kids being neglected, and entire communities destroyed. She didn't see it then, like she sees now. Roberts served only 2 years of a 21-year sentence before receiving a full pardon from the state of Alabama in 2014. She was one of only 242 applicants granted a pardon out of over 9,000 applications, and the only person in North Alabama to receive this distinction. Since her release, Roberts has filed lawsuits against Alabama about ex-felons' ability to vote, worked to help former inmates find employment, and advocates for criminal justice reform. She maintains a website at perryandroberts.com promoting a workbook to help people change criminal thinking to responsible thinking, with resources for formerly incarcerated individuals.
To get out quick. You know, ultimately, it's your decision and who you be with. And most of the time, drug boys, when they get busted and the girl is with them, they put it on the girl. And then you have a case. Or you'll take a case for him because you don't have a case.
Her message is clear. Get out quick, make better choices, get your education, get a job, and avoid felonies because they're easy to get and very hard to get rid of. Roberts represents genuine transformation and dedication to rebuilding communities. Moving from Alabama's cocaine trade to Philadelphia's heroin epidemic, we encounter a woman who walked away from the game on her own terms, a rarity in organized crime. Thelma Wright, Philadelphia's Queenpin. Known as Philadelphia's Queenpin in the 1990s heroin trade, Thelma Wright dominated distribution networks in North Philly during a decade of brutal violence. Moving product with efficiency that kept law enforcement perpetually behind, Wright built an empire on heroin that flowed through the city's most dangerous neighborhoods. Remarkably, Wright was never actually convicted and imprisoned for her drug activities. She walked away voluntarily after personal losses forced her to reevaluate the path she was on. The deaths of friends and family caught in the violence she helped fuel led to a decision few criminals make, to simply stop. In 2025, Wright runs an anti-violence foundation and hosts a podcast focused on helping at-risk youth. As a cancer survivor, she's gained perspective on life's fragility and the importance of using time to make positive impact. She works directly with young people in Philadelphia's most dangerous neighborhoods, the same neighborhoods where she once pushed heroin. Wright's public reformation stands in stark contrast to speculation surrounding other names. There's no shadowy advisory role, no whispers of continued involvement. Her transformation appears genuine and complete, testament to the possibility of redemption. Across the Caribbean, in Jamaica's politically charged garrison communities, another woman was rising through one of the most violent criminal organizations ever to operate between Kingston and New York. Lorna Hera, Spangler's enforcer. Born in the 1960s in Kingston amid Jamaica's JLP-PNP political feuds, Lorna Hera's garrison youth aligned her with the People's National Party in politically charged 1970s-1980s Jamaica, where posses like Spangler's formed as enforcers before evolving into international drug traffickers. The political violence of that era birthed the posse. Groups like Spangler's served as enforcers for figures like Skeng Don, Kenneth Black. Hera rose in the 1980s, leading Kingston NYC cells that flooded streets with crack cocaine and guns. The posse wars epitomized the brutality. The 1985 Oakland picnic shootout between Shower and Spangler posses left a DJ dead and communities terrorized. The FBI attributed over 50 U.S. hits to operations Hera commanded, with her network controlling Brooklyn and Bronx hubs using political ties for protection. Over 1,000 posse-linked killings were tracked by the DEA in 1987, captured in 1990s U.S. raids, including the R. In 1987 nationwide posse sweeps that netted 124 arrests. Hera served terms for trafficking and murder before release in the 2000s. The posse era fragmented after these raids, with the final blow coming with Dudas Coke's 2010 fall. By 2025, at approximately 60 years old, Interpol Caribbean reports speculate about an advisory role in fragmented posses, but there are no arrests or confirmed sightings. Her legacy remains one of political crime fusion that scarred the Jamaican diaspora. Back in Philadelphia, another woman was carving out territory with a different organization and an even more shadowy presence. Cynthia Lady G. Davis, JBM's shadow. Emerging from Philadelphia's North Philly projects in the late 1980s amid economic despair, Cynthia Lady G. Davis connected with JBM founder Aaron Jones through street networks. The Junior Black Mafia's Get Down or Lay Down motto defined their empire. Heroin dominance in Richard Allen and Diamond Street projects, with brutal extortion of Jamaican rivals called Yardies. In the 1990s peak, Davis oversaw hits including the 1991 High Rollers Club shootout, later fictionalized in True to the Game. Under Jones, who received a 1995 RICO conviction, she enforced violent purges contributing to JBM's dominance. Their flash was unmistakable: Fila and Gucci sweats, Benzes announcing wealth and power. Nabbed in early 2010's JBM RICO probes, she served approximately 10 years for extortion and conspiracy. Post-release details are sparse due to Philadelphia's witness intimidation issues. In 2025, at approximately 50 years old, Gangsters Inc. airs whispers about East Coast cyber laundering ties amid Philly crime spikes, but nothing is confirmed. JBM's influence has waned significantly. Her story represents rare female command in Philadelphia's hyper-masculine criminal scene. From traditional drug trafficking, we turn to a completely different breed of criminal enterprise, one that operates in the digital realm and represents the future of organized crime. Yetundday Mama T. Adabio, digital crime matriarch. Born in the 1980s during Nigeria's urban youth unemployment crisis, Yetundday Mama T. Adabio represents a new evolution in organized crime, the cyber fraud syndicate. As a mama recruiter in Ibadan and Lagos Yahoo syndicates, she exploits socioeconomic gaps, training vulnerable teens for global romance and investment scams, targeting U.S. military personnel using deepfakes. Her 2020s operations blend fraud with violence, recruiter beatings for non-performers, debtor threats, and sophisticated scams via romance and investment cons. Interpol's Serengeti 2.0 operation in 2025 seized $3 million from her network and arrested 36 people, but Adabio continues to evade capture. Her syndicate uses encrypted apps for Europe-Africa operations, incorporating juju rituals, a form of cyber-spiritualism, for psychological edge over victims and recruits. These rituals bind recruits through fear and belief, provide psychological preparation for scamming operations, and create a mystical aura around mama figures that enhances control. Her operations contribute to Nigeria's $706 million in cyber losses in 2023, with a 30% rise in sextortion tips linked to similar mama rings from October 2024 to March 2025. In 2025, she remains active according to Afripol seizures, overseeing digital empires with 63,000 meta-banned accounts. EFCC raids in June 2025 decried these operations as national shame, but arrests remain difficult as the digital nature makes prosecution across borders incredibly challenging. Unlike US-based figures who have reformed, Adabio represents the new face of transnational organized crime, digital, diffuse, and difficult to prosecute. Her operations show how organized crime has evolved beyond physical territories into cyberspace, where borders mean nothing. Finally, we close with a story too audacious to be fiction, a woman who pulled off one of the most brazen financial crimes in American history, complete with an escape that Hollywood couldn't have written better. Tanya Smith, the $40 million bank hacker. If Tanya Smith's story were pitched as fiction, publishers would reject it as too unbelievable, but every detail is documented fact. Born around 1960 in Minneapolis, Smith began defrauding banks as a teenager, initially motivated to help struggling neighbors during segregation, using her natural intelligence and understanding of financial systems to exploit weaknesses. By her 20s, Smith had orchestrated a $40 million scheme hacking financial systems, using intermediaries for massive withdrawals, including a legendary $190 $260,000 at Caesar's Palace. Her operation blended altruism and luxury. She genuinely helped poor neighbors while living large herself. Her audacity extended beyond the crimes. She taunted the FBI with letters claiming her superiority, essentially daring them to catch her, writing that they didn't think she was smart enough to commit such sophisticated crimes. When they finally caught her, Smith's story took its most incredible turn. In 1988, she escaped from a West Virginia federal prison disguised as a lawyer, complete with professional attire and a briefcase, literally waving to guards as she walked out the front door. The escape was so brazen, so perfectly executed, that it became legendary and remains one of the most audacious prison escapes in American history. Eventually recaptured after months on the run, she served approximately 13 years before release around 2001. In 2025, at 64, Smith is an author whose 2024 memoir, Never Saw Me Coming, details outsmarting authorities, with Universal Pictures acquiring film rights in February 2025. She maintains an Instagram presence, Never Saw Me Coming Book, promoting speaking engagements with interviews in major publications emphasizing her redemption arc. While YouTube whispers suggest she's quietly running gangs, there's no evidence of any 2025 crimes. Smith's focus is on advocacy, sharing her story through speaking engagements and her memoir. Her message is clear: crime's allure fades against freedom, and the smartest move is walking away while you still can. Thanks for watching. Click on the cards on your screen for more thrilling content.